Chapter 6, the cardiovascular system, specifically focus on blood. In this section, specifically 6.1, we're going to just do an overview of blood and its role in the human body. So, the heart pumps about 75 milliliters of blood with each contraction, and on average, the heart beats 70 times per minute. So therefore, the heart pumps roughly 5,250 milliliters per minute, meaning that the entire blood supply is going to be circulated every single minute. So the role of blood is actually hugely important. It has so much exposure and access to all areas of the body. It's going to play some very important roles. The first one being, obviously, as a transportation system. Nutrients, gases, and hormones are all going to be transported to the cells. Wastes are going to be excreted from the cells. Also plays a very important role in protection against disease-causing agents, protection against blood loss by clotting. White blood cells can fight against disease-causing organisms, and platelets can fight against excessive blood loss. Also plays a very important role in maintaining homeostasis through the regulation of pH and temperature. Body temperature throughout the body is going to be regulated by our circulatory system. Dilation of the blood vessels causes them to move towards the surface of the skin and release more heat. Constriction, contraction of those blood vessels is going to allow them to retreat further in the body to help maintain and keep our heat. So it plays a very important role in those regulatory functions. Now, the composition of blood is kind of interesting. It is actually considered a connective tissue. It is a liquid connective tissue made out of formed elements, so those would be cells and cell fragments, suspended in a plasma. So those formed elements are going to ultimately be produced in the red bone marrow. Red blood cells are known as erythrocytes. You'll also see them abbreviated as RBCs. White blood cells, or leukocytes, you'll see those listed or abbreviated as WBCs. And then platelets and thrombocytes, those are going to be particles or pieces of cells. And again, those are all going to be formed in the red bone marrow. Now, plasma is pretty interesting. Plasma is going to consist of 91% water and about 9% salts and organic molecules. And the solutes help maintain the osmotic pressure of blood. The salts can also act as buffers, so they're going to help us maintain our standard pH. There are other solutes in there, nutrients, wastes, hormones. Those are all going to be the transportation molecules, or the molecules that are going to be transported throughout the body. Plasma proteins are going to be the most abundant organic molecules, most of which are going to be produced by the liver and help create the osmotic pressure in the blood. There are three major types of plasma proteins. There's albumins. These are going to be the most abundant of the plasma proteins. They contribute to osmotic pressure more than the others, and their primary goal or responsibility is to transport molecules in the blood. Globulins are also going to transport substances in the bloods. Others, like gamma globulins, help fight pathogens. And then finally, fibrinogen. Fibrinogen is a very important plasma protein. It's inactive, generally speaking, but when it is activated, it forms blood clots. So in its inactive form, it doesn't really bind, it doesn't seize up, and it's going to pass through the blood vessels very slowly and, very easily, I should say. However, when it becomes activated, it'll form a rigid net-like structure, and it can help form clots and maintain blood volume, help prevent against blood loss. So you should be able to summarize the components of the blood, summarize the functions of blood, and list a few of those different types of plasma proteins and explain why those are important.